Say it again. Good.
Yes. Sweat Equity Podcast and streaming show, the #1 comedy plus business podcast in the world.
We'll do it live.
And the #1 business plus comedy podcast in the world.
That's for the overweight businesses.
Listen to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you're listening to this in your ear holes, maybe you got one or two. I've got
Maybe
one.
you clean them normally
Maybe I
on
tried
a
to clean
regular
mine,
basis.
and I can't hear out of my right ear right now. Look, man,
What?
It's just earwax building up. I don't want to get into it with Benson as our guest, talking about God and business and profitry, being consistent, something we all have trouble with, being consistent, running your own business. ConsistentProfittree.com/ebook is where you can get his ebook for free. But if you're listening to this in your ear holes, go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Give us a 5-star review. Write a little something on there. This episode is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one drag-and-drop templated website builder.
What are you looking at over there? You're looking like on the wall.
I'm just
looking at.
You ever try to balance yourself while you're like holding your leg
Clean
up?
your ears, dude.
I
Clean
can't.
your ears.
I'm messed up.
You can't even balance correctly?
No, look at it. Look into my ear.
You're staring off to the wall to balance yourself because you won't clean your ears?
No, I went to the ear doctor. Didn't do anything.
Somebody's got dirty ears.
Squarespace, the all-in-one drag and drop website builder. You can do anything WordPress can do. Don't let those jabronis that are trying to rip you off tell you otherwise.
J-Brones.
SEO indexes right to Google and Bing and Yahoo and all the search engines. You don't even have to do anything else for you. In the description, hit that link. And if you want one of these Sweat Equity tanks that I'm wearing right now in video, holler if you hear me.
Yeah, I do. Where's mine, fuckface?
Let's talk to Benson. Hotty toddy.
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
Can you hear us? All right.
Very well.
Where are you, Benson? How do you say your last name?
Agbortogo. I would just say stick with Benson. That would just be fine.
I want you to say it.
Yeah.
Try it.
He just
It's
you want me to say it?
I want him to say it.
Oh, I
know he'll mess it up.
I mumble through everybody's anything that's a little difficult. I'm like I can't read. Agbortogo.
He gave up after the second letter.
Okay, let me help you. Agbortogo. So the first G is silent. So it's like
Agbortogo.
about to go. Think about to go food. Take out to go.
Okay.
And you're from Boston? Where are you from? Where are you called?
I am located in Dallas.
Dallas, but where originally? How do you get this cool last name? Smith is a bad last name. I was trying to explain to my kids it's the most common last name in the United States. I am the whitest white.
You could disappear very easily.
I could, except I look like my face looks like it belongs on a coin.
Right.
Yeah. Or
sideways. Yeah.
I'm starting to get fatter. I look like Gerard Depardieu.
Mm-hmm. And my dad.
Aaron Rodgers just took my Con Air look. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
He just showed up with a white tee or a tank top, but just pure white, and he looks like Nicolas Cage in Con Air.
That's cool.
I think you should do some stand-up comedy.
I need to. I need to work on it. My stand-up needs a lot of work. Man, I just bombed so hard the other night.
Did you?
I can't hear out of my right ear right now. I just did the first time I just backed out of a set because I was like I was dizzy. I couldn't even.
Oh, in the middle of the set, you stopped?
No, before I went on, I was just like I was like getting nauseous because my balance is all fucked up.
Oh man,
I probably shouldn't have drilled.
Don't use Q-tips though.
I jammed a Q-tip too far into my ear, Benson. You ever done that?
No, I don't plan to. You know?
Well,
but
look,
you can still use them safely and clean your ears.
Eric shamed me a couple of years ago and said my ears are too gross. And then I did 20 different Q-tips that were all plum purple red.
Yes, it was one of the top 5 grossest things I've ever seen.
And it gives me glee that it grossed you out, but
it should gross you out too.
It did.
You're
a little
rolling
bit.
around with that, rattling around in there.
I can't help it.
Ew, dude.
It's just protecting these crinkly ears I got. this is how we do the show. We're already going. I don't know if you realize that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've listened to some other episodes, so I'm familiar with you guys.
Oh, fantastic.
All right, so give us some customer feedback. Where can we improve? But mostly, what did you like about it?
Make us feel good.
How about this? Why don't you start with your plugs, Profit Tree? You're the business system that never fails. Where can people find you? We try to do them at the top of the show in case people, get distracted.
For sure. My website is consistentprofittree.com. And typically when I do shows like this, I give people who are listening an electronic copy of my book, which is a business system that never fails. So they can find that at consistentprofittree.com/ebook.
All right.
Anybody can download a free copy right there.
So what brought you to writing that book?
I was so sick and tired of so many businesses failing. If you look at the statistics, over 85 to 90% of small businesses fail after the first 15 years.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's about 60% is like within 5 years or something like that.
Yeah. So the percentages keep increasing as the years go by. So I was born and raised in Africa, Cameroon specifically. So when I came to the United States over 20 years ago, I was thinking, boy, it's so easy to start a business here, easy to run it. Then I started realizing so many businesses were failing. I said, with all the technology, why are many businesses failing? And whenever I know there's a problem, I want to go into the root of it to find out, okay, how can we solve this problem? Then I discovered that the reason why most of these businesses are failing is they neglect the universal laws that govern business.
Such as?
Which we definitely know.
Which we know for sure.
It's tattooed on our bodies.
Such as the law of sowing and reaping or cause and effect. I'll give an example. Many entrepreneurs, they market, they generate leads, they follow up when they really need business. Then what happens is when they have so much business, they go on a vacation, they stop doing it. And then they realize, oh my goodness, our pipeline is dry. Let's get back to it. So you see this fluctuation going up and down, up and down. They are inconsistent. So as a result, they have inconsistent results. And some of them never really survive that down cycle when they try to get back to it again. And what happens is they are out of business.
Yeah, consistency is something I struggle with for sure. What do you find that a lot of entrepreneurs, kind of struggle with in the consistency part? Is it them? Is it being content? Is it something we don't
not improving?
Yeah.
Systems.
The number one reason I know that most entrepreneurs struggle with consistency is distractions. So they are distracted from doing the main thing that should help them grow their business. That's part of the reason why we have that name, Consistent Profit Tree, because I always ask entrepreneurs, I say, if you go to an apple tree, how many types of fruits are you going to find there? They will say one. I say, are you sure? They say, yeah, I'm very sure. I say, are you sure you won't find mangoes and oranges and guavas? They said, no, only one. I said, but when I look at your business now, I can't really tell which fruit your tree is producing. You're all over the place.
Right. Not focusing on the one thing you do well, work on that, get that going, scale it up, do that the best you can, then you can add these other services that are ancillary to it.
Absolutely. There's a guy who was called George Washington Carver. He really focused on peanuts. I think he ended up producing over 300 products, but all of them were from peanuts. So that is a prime example of focus. So when these entrepreneurs are distracted with going in so many directions, then they end up diluting their focus, and evidentially, a lot of them are out of business.
So, what is your recommendation for these distractions? Is
Is it routine? Is it habits?
I mean, do you hire out the things that you think the owner or the person who does things well should be not focusing on? What is your recommendation?
My recommendation is every single business owner should systematize their business the way it should operate, and then simply hire people who are going to run those systems, and they just supervise the results that those systems are expected to produce. And every good system starts with specific results you want that system to produce. So if the results are not there in the business, then you know the system is not working. Something has to be readjusted. So if you systematize your business, then it becomes easy to scale. And then the business owner is not trapped in the business working so long hours and barely having enough time for themselves and their families.
That's good. I like that.
Work-life balance.
That's what you mean.
Yeah, figuring
Talk about
that
the
out.
systems, but
Yeah,
you know.
I mean systems, habits, routine, all those things. It's what
I don't think habits and routine are the same as a system.
Kinda.
In the way Benson is referring it to. Yeah, but a system is meant to be followed very carefully and, by the book. A routine is like your morning routine. You don't have to do that because what's the consequence? You do that with your business in a system, bad things happen. Shit doesn't get done.
what?
I'm
Was your show
being very clear. What are you talking about?
Wait, no. If
Your
you,
morning routine. I'm saying the word routine. I don't think it's like.
All right, I wake up, I
I don't
shave
feel
my
as though
pubes.
the word system and routine are interchangeable. Is my point.
I feel like they're pretty close. They're kissing cousins.
Okay, well, we'll
So
let Benson decide.
Systems is really the big
More than
picture.
yourself. Yeah.
And then the routines are really the smaller things that you do within the system. The systems that we design for businesses, they are designed right down to a point where if the checklist within the systems are not followed, we know we are not going to get the results.
Right.
So it becomes so easy to hold your team members accountable. Like he was saying, if you have a routine that is not tied to a specific results, the stakes are not high. If you miss it 2 days, 3 days, But for business, if you miss it, you know your results are not going to look like the way you want them to.
Yeah, I would say there's a cascading effect of other people involved. Mainly your customer, client, patient, whatever it is. Coworkers. So yeah, I realized I wasn't great at project management about 5-6 years ago. And I realized I'm never going to scale anything or be less frustrated unless I really focused on that. What can someone do to how do you learn how to be a better operations kind of person?
Again, as I said, if you are not really good in operations, then it's good to bring somebody in who is good at putting systems in place. Because once systems have been put in place, you don't have to be good at the systems. You just have to follow them. For example, all of us drive cars, right? I don't know how to put an engine together, but I don't need to know how to put an engine together. I just need to know how to enter my car, use my car key, put it in the ignition, and then control the steering. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't need to worry about how did the engine come together, and all of that. I go buy the car. So you don't have to worry about, trying to put everything together. You just need to know how to run the system. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, let's.
I think we're both right.
We both won. No, how about this? Let's talk about you growing up in Cameroon. Before we forget, what advice would you give your 13-year-old self? I can't tell how old you are, but if you could travel back in time, tell yourself something at 13, what would it be?
I would say read, so you become a person of value. because when you become a person of value, the marketplace will pay more for you. One of my mentors, and I also heard it from Jim Rohn, he used to say, rich people have big libraries, poor people have big televisions.
Interesting. I like
So,
that.
yeah,
I mean, that's no truer than right now. I mean, like I've heard a couple of comics talk about there's never been a better time to be poor because you can have a huge TV and you can watch Netflix and you can satiate yourself with a bunch of things that don't really matter, you know, that aren't pushing you forward or getting you out of lower middle class or whatever it is.
So I'll give myself that advice: read more books, but specific books, not just scattered books. So once in a while, somebody will say, read this book. I say, why do you want me to read that book? Do you know my goals? Ooh. So I'll read books that are related to my goals.
So I'm going to start saying, I'll be like, do you even know my goals? Somebody asked me to do something.
Accusatory.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's like you don't even know my goals.
You should read this book. Do you know my goals, Ho?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The nerve.
I read R.L. Stein exclusively. I read Goosebumps because I like it. Okay,
your goals.
My goals
to
are
get
to feel good. But in the same regard, you can just. I love. There's a certain kind of Florida novel I like. It's fiction. It's Carl Hyacin. It's Tim Dorsey. Is it really helping me move towards things? That's more of a Netflix thing. That's more of a entertainment, right? That's not. I am learning of quirky things here and there, but it's not really getting me towards what I need to do.
Well, if you are definitely a marketer because of what you guys do, if you read the novel and you hone your ability to tell stories, then that's a good thing.
Nice.
Well, I do think down the line I might try to write a similar type of novel like they do, but that's years from now. But what?
Nothing.
You don't like Tim Dorsey? You don't like Carl Hyacin?
Oh, I can't wait to read your
You don't
novel.
like Dave Barry?
I can't wait to read it.
You can't wait to read the sweat equity book I'm writing?
Now we're talking.
Yeah, that's in the mix right now. I'm trying to finish a book this year, a sweat equity book.
How many pages you got?
10.
When are you publishing it?
Yeah, I'm just taking all these interviews and putting it in a book. That's all. That's a marketer, right?
Repurposing.
But then we'll be published authors, and then we can just. It's like our buddy Dean says. What's your book like?
Yeah. Do you even know my goals?
Right. It's a whose penis is bigger kind of conversation.
Right. How many books do you have?
And I need as many of those non-real penis.
You should write 2 books.
Oh, hey-o.
I don't know.
We started this interview with you talking about how we do take advantage as Americans that grow up here. That I do think entrepreneurship, even though it's a French word, is truly American. It is a thing that you have to realize. Not every country has the resources and the ability to do it. While everybody here may not have the same playing field they start with, they do have the same opportunity. Tell us about you growing up in Cameroon. I've heard a lot of African countries are very entrepreneurial because necessity breeds innovation. Is that kind of how it is over there, or you're tilting your head like not so much?
I would say yes and no. It's very difficult to start a real business in most African countries. So let me give you a context. When I came to the U.S., the first business I started, I was living in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It took me about 10 minutes to fill the LLC form, pay, I think it was $35 then, and I got my license. And I was blown away.
What would that be like in your native country?
Maybe 5 or 10 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And so is that kind of government kind of overreach on everybody, or is that tribalism?
It's a lot of red tape. So this person wants you to bribe them. This person wants you to bribe them. That person wants you to bribe them. That one. So you go through a prolonged process just to get a license to do business. So it's very difficult. So most people really do it in a mom and pop way. So it becomes difficult for them to scale or to have the quality they need to even provide goods to the international market.
Well, it's got to be defeatist, right? So you're basically getting the skill of bribing.
Right, and I mean, once you get that license, I'm gonna guess that the bribing
flip around.
doesn't stop necessarily. I
No.
mean, you probably is it
bribee?
over? Are you good to go, or are you probably paying a vig on the backside?
That is right. So taxation is non-existent. So most of it is, hey, if you give me a little bit of money, then we'll consider it to be a tax. But it's not really going into the government system. So there's nothing like IRS in Cameroon or Nigeria.
Well, that sounds kind of nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's cool.
But
Yeah, until that dude wants his money, and you're like, oh, I want the IRS back.
and then I'm sure you just flip around and become part of that bureaucracy, right? Like you do that for 5 to 10 years to get the license, and by the time you get it, you're like, well, now I know this system. I'm going to flip around and be the bribee or briber.
Yeah, depending on your level of integrity. Some people still survive within the system without doing all of that, but it's a very small minority. So that's how the business climate is. So most people are really small mom and pops, but I would say the government hires most of the people who are at work. And unfortunately, most people go to school, they have good education, they have a bachelor's degree, master's degree, but because government cannot hire everybody, a lot of these guys are just sitting and waiting for some kind of opportunity to come. So that's part of the thing I plan to go back and do, to really inject the entrepreneurial spirit in people and expose people to the global market. Because now with the internet, you don't need a local business to survive. You can literally learn how to do business in the internet and really do well. I mean, in my business, I hire people in Mexico, the Philippines, but these are people who have skills that I need for my business. If there were people like that in Cameroon who had those skills, I'll gladly hire them, pay them in dollars, and they'll be living at a very high level when they convert that money to the local currency. So it's really about exposing people to the global opportunities that are available today with the internet compared to in the past.
The Philippines is the Mexico of the world.
Outsourcing capital of
For the
world,
internet?
man.
For the internet, and they speak Spanish a
Right.
little bit. It's interesting. So let's take us back to Milwaukee. You're in Milwaukee, probably one of the only black guys walking around Milwaukee. Tell us about that
Been
experience.
to Milwaukee?
Huh?
You've never been to Milwaukee?
I don't need to go to Haiti to know it's hot. Like I'll read Farmer's Almanac. I know what's up. So in Milwaukee, tell us about that experience. You get over there.
Milwaukee, by the way, Milwaukee is freakingly cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't need to go to Milwaukee to know it's cold.
Yeah, it's very cold. So when I came to the U.S., I went to school first of all in New York. So I did my bachelor's degree in business management in New York. Mm-hmm. And then decided to go for my master's in Milwaukee. So it was a very interesting experience. The company I worked with was a consulting company. And then after my master's, I really decided, okay, I'm going to jump out and start on my own and have a lot more control over my time, over my money, and all of that. But it was very, very challenging. Part of me was like, oh my goodness, is this the right time to do it? Should I wait a little bit? My wife was pregnant at the time with our first daughter.
Oh boy.
And she was about to give birth when I decided to, move on and start my own business. And I thought that, customers will be running from left and right, coming to me and saying, hey, Benson, we're here. You just started a business. We are going to give you business. But I had a rude awakening and went through, several years of just grinding it. But man, when I look back now, it was one of the best decisions I ever made for my own life.
It's awesome. You and your wife still together?
Oh yeah, we have 4 kids
Oh,
now.
thank God.
4 kids.
4 kids. Congratulations.
Jesus, man.
That's a lot of work.
And so how do you make it from Milwaukee down to Dallas?
So started the consulting company, and I looked at the lay of the land. I looked at the school district. I knew I was going to have more kids, so I really wanted to be in a place where there's a good school district, and then the climate, of course, will be similar to Africa's because I hated the cold in Milwaukee.
Yep.
So Dallas was really a winner. Good school districts. The climate is really good, and of course the economy is also better. So in 2011, relocated the family here and continue running the consulting company. And again, that was a very, very strategic move at that time.
Yeah, love Dallas, love the area. No state income tax. That helps as well. Had family in Fort Worth, so I've always loved that area. Even though Dallas and Fort Worth are kind of.
What else about Dallas?
I've done hyenas in Dallas. I've done it in Fort Worth. I've gotten to go around Highland Park. My roommate in college, Ed Wally, his initials Jew, Jew. He was from Dallas, so I got a pretty good view of Dallas.
Okay.
What, you didn't think I'd never been there?
No, I wanted to hear more facts about Dallas.
SMU, AT&T. What do you want? The
I
Cowboys.
just hate the Cowboys. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them
I
either.
wanted to say that.
So, what advice? I mean, so you've had 4 books. Is that right?
Yes, the main one. I mean, I don't promote the other 3 relatively. One of them, I mean, that one will be much more suitable for people who are interested in the development of Africa. That one was written when I was in college. It's called Faith and Development in Africa. So it's really about how to develop the African continent because that's something I'm passionate about. But the main book I really promote is The Business System That Never Fails, because I believe that anybody who masters the 3 pillars in the book should be able to run a business successfully without being afraid of failing.
And it seems like you have a big kind of Christian theme throughout a lot of the information I received from the booking agency. Is that's a main through line of integrity you kind of spoke of earlier?
Absolutely, and everything that I do that is the foundation of the business that I run is love. And I believe that if you love your clients, you love yourself, then you'll be passionate to help those clients. When I see people who are afraid to sell or afraid to market, I'll say to them, either you are wicked or you don't believe in your product or service. Tell me which one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they will say, okay, I'm not a wicked person. Then I will say, okay, then you don't believe in your product or service, because if you believe that your product or service is going to solve problems for your clients and you love them, you should do everything you can to introduce that product or service to them, because you are helping them to relieve them from their problem. But if you are shy to talk about your product or service and you know people who are in problems, then you are a wicked person.
Yeah.
And they will go, oh my goodness, I never thought about it that way. I said, you are shy to talk about your product or service because of the stigma that marketing and sales has carried. But if you change it and you begin to see yourself as a distributor of solutions, then you should be passionate to talk about what you offer to people.
Yeah, and there's a yin and yang to that as well. I remember when I was going through my divorce, which was rough, or pre-divorce, and you're like, I feel like a bag of shit internally, and I can't, but I do believe in the business I was doing, but I still couldn't get over the hump to be able to do it. So you have to kind of have both of those. Now, Eric is Wiccan. He wants to be a witch. He doesn't believe in God. Can your book help you? Can that help?
I don't know. I haven't read the book. But Benson answered.
He's agnostic and atheist.
I'll be happy to mail him a copy. And one of the big things that differentiates me from a lot of the other people that talk about God is I really focus on the love aspect, because I believe
I like that part.
Yeah.
Eric,
Loves
I
witches.
mean,
Yeah.
Eric, looking at him, he's a loving person.
Thank
if you-
you.
He's a hippie.
I love
He's
both
a-
of you. I
he's a
love both
hippie
of
at
you very
heart.
much, and everybody listening right now in your cars.
But he mainly goes to drum circles with other sorcerers or something. I don't know. I've never gone. But if he doesn't believe in God, let's say, will this get him towards Christ a lot more? Now, I'm a God-fearing man. I go to church every other week.
What are you scared of?
Stuff.
Oh.
The rapture.
Oh.
You
That
get to
is
the end of
scary.
the end of that Bible, got a crazy twist ending.
Really, they kind of really
Four
wrap
horsemen
that up quick.
come out of nowhere.
Thousands of years. Wrap it up.
But it's one of those things where it's tough to infuse those two things together with integrity. I find in the business world, yours seems genuine. Don't get me wrong. I was just watching that documentary of the Way Down on HBO, and it's about this lady who had one of these evangelical kind of cults, and they have their own business, and the business starts within the church and all that stuff. I like the way you're going about it, which is, hey, this is kind of my through line throughout this. Believe it or not, it seems like that is that
Well, I think it's good that you use the word love
right.
instead. And I have no problem with the word God, but it will turn people off when they're basically saying the same thing. But using the word love instead, I think, is much more welcoming
And universal.
Absolutely,
Yes.
because the reality is God is love.
Right.
And I've never met a single human being in my life who does not have some love in them. So
Correct.
all of us are connected with that common thread, just like all of us breathe oxygen. I don't know any human being who breathes a different type of air. We all breathe, oxygen. It's the same thing that really, really connects us. So that is what I really encourage people to go down that route, because if you really increase your ability to love people, you will find a lot of God within you manifesting, because again, God is love and love is God. So that is the lane I choose to really go down. And when I felt the desire to go into business, I didn't just want to go into it ignorantly. I took the time to really go and study and have degrees in it. And I was fortunate to have a very good mentor, as well. After graduation, studied under him and really got to really know what it takes to run a business. So I believe that differentiates me from a lot of people who just get up and say, hey, I think I have the unction to become a business person, and they haven't done any studies, and they're out there, messing things up.
Yeah, coming in it with mouth of babes kind of style, unbiased, know what you don't know, those kind of things, and learning from others who've been there. It's really important, all that. consistentprofittree.com/ebook. We'll put that in the description of this episode. Benson, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. I think Eric does too.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Absolutely, I appreciate you guys. You guys are hilarious.
I appreciate it.
The way you run your shows, and I mean it shows.
Business doesn't have to be boring,
No, we don't want it. No, boring is a crime.
Well, we have nothing but love for you, Benson. Appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
See ya.
Thank you.